Hey everyone, welcome to Nerds Talk. I'm Mike.
And I'm Chris.
And today we have a special video for you. We are going to recap the Xbox Live event where they basically had all of their first party games shown, a lot of their console exclusives shown, and some of their, what do they call it, first on Xbox exclusive or timed exclusives, I guess you could say. It was a very interesting event. They kind of ran through the gamut of games. They had games that we expected to see, some ones that I guess were ones we didn't expect or were kind of out of the blue. And I don't know. I mean, overall, what are your thoughts, Chris? What did you think of the Xbox event as a whole?
Yeah, I thought it was well done. And we were expecting an hour long the first party games, which we got, and I liked the pre-show as well, which was nice. Depending on what you're watching beforehand, they threw a couple of exclusives as well and world premieres as well. But I enjoyed it overall.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was pretty well done. Yeah, regarding the pre-show, they did have we'll have it written down here: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 world premiere games shown, and then some ID at Xbox kind of smaller games thrown in the mix as well.
Yeah, it was a nice little preemptive show to highlight a few things that are coming up before the main event.
Absolutely. So I thought that overall it was a strong showing for Microsoft. They did come out and were forthright in saying that there was not going to be any news about the system itself or the interface or any of that stuff. It's all about games, and that's what they delivered. I felt that the majority of the games that they showed, they did dive into gameplay to kind of get an idea of what we're looking at. There was a few that didn't, and we can address those separately. But I mean, overall, I thought it was a strong showing. Again, reiterating on, I think Phil Spencer had come out and he was reiterating on, Game Pass, and all the games you see today will be available day and date on Game Pass. Plus, you can play it on the original Xbox One and not have to upgrade if you don't want to. Like, again, you buy your game, it goes with you. You shouldn't have to pay for upgrades, all that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
So they just wanted to reiterate their message that, you buy the game, you own it. Doesn't matter where you are, where you play it. And I thought that was great. Especially
they also brought up a couple of past games like Gears 5 will be scaled up a bit to with the new Xbox, which is nice as well. So games that you already have that weren't part of this Xbox, what do they call it, Game Pass or
Game Pass Ultimate. Smart delivery.
Yeah, smart delivery system will be kind of with that smart delivery backwards compatible kind of thing, which was nice to see.
Yeah, I completely agree. So let's just run through the games for the pre-show. So they started off with Dragon Quest XI-S, which had come out on the Switch, and I believe is already out on PlayStation as well. It's really, Dragon Quest is a huge Japanese series, so having it on a Japanese console is the norm, but coming over to an American console like Xbox is out of the blue. So that was an interesting little partnership there. They then transitioned to Exomecha 2021, which looked pretty interesting. Speech warfare, mech type suits, robotic dragons, and all sorts of things look pretty interesting. They jumped into Echo Generation, and then went into Hello Neighbor 2, which is to come out in 2021. And then the idea at Xbox, they showed off some games like Tunic and 12 Minutes and a couple of other games that I think we both agreed that looked pretty good and were interesting.
Yeah, really looking forward to a couple of those games like 12 Minutes.
Yeah, and then the last game they showed is Balan Wonderworld, which was, again, another interesting little look at a game with these exotic locales, and it looked interesting. I don't know if this one would definitely grab me, but it definitely had me intrigued to want to know more about it, I think, at this point.
Especially if you already have like Game Pass Ultimate, this gives you the opportunity to see those games and be like, well, I was kind of interested. Let's dabble in it and see if it catches your eye.
Yeah, I think this is a perfect example of a Game Pass game, because while you're maybe paying it for, the Halo, the Gears, the Forza, and all these kind of big name games, these smaller games you're going to get at no additional cost, and some of them are great experiences. So that definitely encourages the strength of the Game Pass platform, I guess.
Yeah,
ecosystem. And then we had the thing start, and they opened up what we expected it to be, Halo Infinite, and they did a deep dive on showing a nice little opening trailer, jumped right into essentially a demo.
Yeah.
Ran through a mission, looked great.
Some new features, a grappling hook, they got the melee, the close and melee, some weapons. So very interesting, very cool. The graphics look smooth and crisp.
Mhm.
So
No loading
beautiful.
times, which is what you
Yeah,
expect.
yeah,
When they transition from the ship to the world, and then the elevator, usually they have the elevator, it's usually a loading or a skip or something. Everything was pretty smooth, so I like that. Yeah, I
like
mean,
from vehicle to foot and so on and so forth. There's no delay at all, which is nice to see.
yeah, I mean, it looked like more Halo. I mean, there wasn't anything that was super like, wow, that's so cool. That's something that's brand new. Other than the grappling hook, for me, I didn't really notice any other guns that were like so completely different than what we've seen before. But it's more Halo, which is great. Um,
Exactly.
Go in, destroy an area, get into the next area, destroy the next area, kind of thing. But yeah, it definitely looked exciting. I think they're trying to show a lot more narrative with the story and trying to get you to care about some of the surrounding characters, like that main character, the UNSC guy that kind of revives you, and like the amount of dialogue he has and stuff like that. I kind of feel like he's going to be with you on this adventure, and maybe you're going to care about him.
Yeah.
And maybe his life may or may not be in danger. It'll be an interesting story, I think, and I think they're going to try to instead of everyone just caring about Chief, want to care about the other characters and everyone else that's part of this team or this mission, I guess, for this game. So yeah, that was
Definitely. It
cool.
looks interesting. And I think everyone's wanted more to the campaign, more of the story, find out what happened and all that stuff. So
Mhm.
continuing it off and, having a new game come out, especially with the new console, it's very exciting for people.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then they jumped into State of Decay 3. So the first two were exclusives to Xbox. They did very well, and so they're going with another chapter. Better graphics, more of the same, but for those who are into the zombie genre, more of that.
Yeah.
They jumped into Forza Motorsport, wanting to show off the graphics of this again. Look like real
Always looks
cars.
beautiful, right?
Yep,
Like they have it down pat at this point. And that's their series for racing that they always want to continue on.
that's
And it
right.
seems like with no number behind it, just
Mm-hmm.
as Forza Motorsports,
Mm-hmm.
this is something that they're going to want to continue. Maybe just have DLCs or different, cars or tracks or anything that they kind of release over time instead of a new number.
Exactly, yeah, and I think that might be the case with Halo Infinite as well. Whereas this is like an Infinite Halo where they're gonna add story and all these other game modes and stuff like that, and kind of you buy it once and you kind of play with it over and over and over as long as possible.
Why not,
Um,
right? Like you can get different weapons, different story mode, like campaigns.
mhm.
Sky's the limit for them, really.
Absolutely, and if they really want to, depending on where the story goes, that character that you start off with might don his own armor and become like a secondary Spartan, and now you have another guy behind the mask that you may or may not care about. So there's some potential there.
Definitely.
Then they went over to Everwild, which is Rare's game, if I remember correctly, and yeah, you know these weird alien-like creatures. Got an Avatar feeling from it. Looked interesting, but it was different.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
they jumped over to Tell Me Why, which I believe this is like that
Just
mystery.
the brother and sister.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that actually caught my eye and was very interesting. They kind of have this, I guess, special ability where they can see spirits or memories and stuff like that. So
yeah,
I guess every time they feel something emotional or see something emotional, a memory comes back to them about their the past and they were split up at birth.
mhm.
They had an issue with their parents and their mom and things like that. So it seems very interesting to me, this storyline and game.
Yeah. I completely agree. And the more narrative style stories that they have, the better it is for the hardcore audience who want to invest in the game and get an experience out of it. At the same time, there are different ways of doing a narrative. You have your action based ones, and you have the ones that are literally all about story and exploration, and that's what this one I feel like is more about. Trying to uncover the mystery and kind of going through the past, and it's not really about action and running away and dodging and stuff. It's more so about like a point and click adventure kind of style in 3. So I mean, it definitely has an interesting dynamic about it. Then they went into Moon Studios, Ori and the Will of the Wisps. So this is a game that already came out on Xbox One, sequel to the first Ori and the Blind Forest, and they basically came out saying, "Hey, we are hard at work on an enhanced version for the Series X, which will allow us to get the frame rate that we wanted to, that we weren't able to get on the Xbox One, going from 60 frames to 120 frames per second. More bloom effects, more lighting, more better
I like
graphics
that they
overall.
showed the side by sides of the
Yeah,
differences and how you can see it and everything like that. So
yeah, and they
I'm excited to see that. I know a lot of people that are fans of this game that would really appreciate, the quicker frame rates, the crisper graphics, all
mhm.
that stuff. So it would enhance their game for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then again they reiterated that if you already own this game or bought this game, it's no additional cost to get the newer version on the new system, and of course Game Pass. That's already included in that fact. So you get the better version without having to pay a dime. And if you haven't invested in it, well, this is the chance to, if you want the best experience, that's the definitive option, right?
Exactly.
Then they jumped into Obsidian Entertainment and a few games that they were making. The first of which was The Outer Worlds. I guess it was a DLC, Peril on Gorgon. Excuse me. So it looks like a new planet that you're going through, and playing on, discovering a little bit of a narrative there. Great for those who are into the Outer Worlds, but the other big information kind of switched gears into Grounded, which is more of a strategy, base building, kind of co-op style adventure where you can play with friends or play against friends depending on how you want. Kind of
Yeah.
a sandbox style game.
Yeah. Build your fort,
yeah.
build weapons, choose how you want to kind of live your life in the small version in the backyard kind of thing.
Yeah, and they're like polar opposites in like the design, the graphical style, like just everything about it. So again,
Yeah.
games for like different types of people. And then they kind of finished with like a new game called Avowed, which I thought was an interesting, like, oh, okay, here's like the new thing. Here's the big thing that they're kind of standing behind. It wasn't super memorable to me. I mean, it was interesting, but it wasn't like, oh, that's definitely on my must play game list. So
Yeah, I agree. But I was impressed that they're releasing 3 games and
yeah,
had 3 trailers ready to go for this because I believe they were showcasing 13 or 15 of their 19. I think they said 15 of their 19 exclusive studios that the Xbox has.
I believe so. Or it's 15 studios, and there was
Yeah,
9. Either way, it was
they're
was
showcasing majority, but
yeah.
some are still missing. And this for this studio to come out with 3. It's quite nice to see that they had 3 trailers ready, 3 games ready. And so on.
Absolutely. Now, I do believe the first 2 are available, or at least Grounded, I think, was at least in beta recently, because I remember talking about it being on the Switch even. Outer Worlds is definitely already out, so, I mean, that's DLC. But, I mean, yeah, to have these 3 projects essentially so close together is very impressive, and kind of makes you wonder, these other studios that are working on one game that's announced, are they working on something else in the background? It'll be interesting to see in the coming years. Then we jumped over to As Dusk Falls. This one I can't remember at all.
Nor can I. I don't remember it being very, very good. We kind of just said, that'll be.
Yeah, was this one of those horror kind of games where there's like the 2 different dimensions?
I believe so. Where the girl can go from the spirit world to the real
that's probably
world.
why.
She can kind of switch the realities.
Yeah, so I
I
wasn't
believe
really.
that's the one.
Yeah, not my wheelhouse, but again, you have something in the horror genre. It's like Resident Evil was shown on PlayStation. You have more of that kind of stuff. We just saw a little bit of Hellblade 2, Senua's Saga. It's still hard at work. It's definitely still coming. More Hellblade for those who are interested in that. I think they talked about the scale as being a lot bigger than the first game, but they definitely want to focus on quality.
Which will help with the new Xbox Series and graphics and everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then we got an interesting treat where we saw some Jack Black, and we saw Double Fine Studios working on Psychonauts 2, and that he's like at least one of the, if not a main character, definitely a world or area that you visit in the game. It's Jack Black and his music, and like I guess there's some mystery there, but the new Psychonauts game, still hard at work. Never played the first one.
It was very interesting. It was very flashy for the trailer. Lots of different levels and quick clips on that one. So and then Jack Black singing the song and everything for that. So quite interesting.
Yeah, I think. Excuse me. So
I think he did with his partner in Tenacious D. I think.
Yes, that's right, and
so
he
the
also
2 of
did.
them that kind of did that together.
That's right, and I think there was a game that he did. Escaping me now. You were this rock dude with a guitar. I want to say Rock of Ages, but that was the musical. I can't remember what the name of the game is now. But anyway, they did a song that was based on like heavy metal and like fighting guys and stuff with the music and stuff. So, Yeah, I mean, a great way to kind of promote the game, have a new like, oh, Jack Black, you know, and a new twist to like a already, I guess, known game.
Yeah.
You know, Tim Schafer, the head of Double Fine, was shown there, and you know, he's a kind of crazy guy like Jack Black, so it's interesting to kind of see if this game is going to have this big legs as, I guess, the series as a whole. But what I thought was pretty cool was the next announcement here, which was Destiny 2 available on Game
Online.
Pass
Yes.
officially.
Yeah.
So, you know, PlayStation dropped it as a PlayStation Plus for one of the months, and now it's available on Xbox Game Pass, which means it's not there temporarily, it's there. And if you
Yeah,
get Game
which
Pass, you
includes
get
the
Destiny.
expansions. I believe they said the expansions will be available in September, and then the new or the new DLC Beyond Light will be available on November 10th. I think they pushed the date
That's right.
back
That's
to.
what I wrote down here. Yeah, November 10th, and it says on Series X and also xCloud. They'd mentioned that you can play it on your tablets, you can play it
That's
on your
right.
phones. It'll be
So you can take
available.
it anywhere, really.
Continue where you were, cross play, all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, yeah, I'm more
Very
interested in
exciting.
if you have it for PlayStation 4. You know, does your game save? Is it going to be saved on their server so that if you, because you can cross play with Xbox, if you put up Xbox, can you somehow recover your save? I don't know if that'll be possible. We know that cross play is available, where if you have a copy on Xbox and PlayStation, you can play together on multiplayer. But it'd be interesting to see if there's some way to, like, I've invested all this time and whatnot in a
Transfer
character.
your account
Can
over.
I, yeah, can I swap it over and have that same character available now on the Xbox if I'm playing on this area? That'd be really cool if that was possible. I guess we'll have to wait and see if that's something that they have the ability for, to save it, maybe a one time, like save it on the server, and then you can kind of download it on whichever platform you want. We'll have
Yeah.
to wait and see. But yeah, interesting new collaborations. You know, Bungie was started off with Microsoft, and they're kind of back, at least in a partnership with them, not exclusive, but a partnership. It's great to see that kind of happening
Now
again.
they did do that with Steam, I believe. When Destiny went on Steam, you could sign on and create an account for Steam, and it would, cross save over that way. But that was PC based, so it's not really competitor. So,
Mhm.
like you said, it'll be interesting to see what kind of, if they go right onto Destiny's server, then they have no issue.
Yeah,
But yeah, we'll have to go from there.
that's
Let's
pretty
see.
cool. They jumped over to Stalker 2. Didn't hear about this game. Didn't know what this game is about. No interest there for me.
No.
They jumped into Dark Tide. This is where they kind of just dropped game towards the end
Yeah.
pretty quickly. Dark Tide Warhammer, due to come out in 2021.
It was kind of like like a Valhalla type, like Vikings, right? That was
Yeah.
I believe that was like the Viking type game. So
That's right.
I mean, it seemed okay, but nothing that I would maybe try out one day on Game Pass. But yeah, nothing I
Exactly.
would
Not
buy.
like I want to run out and buy it. Same with Tetris Effect. So
Yeah, I found that kind of weird. So when I bought my first Xbox, I believe the game it came with was a dual game. It was the Star Wars game with the ships, and then Tetris as well. So my wife and I used to play that on our Xbox just for fun because that was the only game that she liked at the time.
mhm.
So seeing it come back onto Xbox is quite interesting because they do have a pass with Tetris, and now this is a big multiplayer. You can the trailer kind of showed like you can kind of mix all your games into one, and then
Yeah.
the person on the left can play on the right person. Like the yellow team can lay something on the blue team side, and then you kind of work together to make a huge Tetris board.
Yeah, like a co-op mode versus a
Yeah,
competitive mode. So that looked pretty interesting. Now I haven't played the original Tetris Effect, which was on PlayStation at some point. I don't know if it was Vita, if it was on the actual PlayStation itself. But for me, Tetris has always been associated with the Game Boy and Nintendo. They
Mhm.
released the game on an NES in color, and then the black and white one on the original Game Boy. And
Yeah,
it slowly kind of worked its way up through Nintendo's years. And obviously on the Switch we have Tetris 99, where they kind of revamped it with a 99 player multiplayer,
that's right.
sort of battle royale of Tetris, which was really cool. And so now they're kind of going back to the Tetris Effect route again and bringing that back. It's very interesting to kind of see it going around, and it is a great puzzle game. It's probably one of the best puzzle games that stood the test
For
of time.
sure,
So
right? Yeah,
why not get it on there? And again, I believe this one's also a Game Pass.
yeah, yeah. I believe they said this one will be available on Game Pass.
And then they talked about this game called The Gunk, which
Yeah, that was kind of like cartoony, ratchet
Yeah.
looking style, but you suck this black gunk essentially, and try and create new life on
Yep.
there and exploring the different planet. And there's some creatures that are made of gunk and stuff like that, or transformed by gunk. So
like another
kind of look like
platformer.
a nice platformer where you're exploring the planet and such. So,
Yep.
a little more cartoony and different, but so it looked pretty interesting. Something I think my son might like.
Yep. The next one is the medium. I think that might have been the one with the girl with going between the two
Oh,
worlds.
you're right.
So that other one that we talked about being As Dusk Falls. I can't remember what the game was about.
Yeah, Mark and I.
It was what it was, but yeah. So again, and another game in that medium. And then they had a brand new Fantasy Star Online game making a resurgence again. Big on it was a Sega big game back on the Dreamcast and whatnot. I think they had a version that went to the GameCube. I want to say potentially, and then I believe that it was on PlayStation at some point. But yeah, new Genesis Fantasy Star Online. So it looks like it's a brand new game. I don't know if this is a remake, but it looks to be brand new, kind of bringing it back. So I'm sure there's tons of fans that were huge on this game back in the day. One of the earlier MMO style games for console. So it'd be great to kind of see that available. Now it's on Xbox, and again, Japanese Sega kind of going out on Xbox is great.
Yeah.
They touched base on Crossfire X, which is due to come out 2020, so this year. And this they showed last year, multiplayer game, but I think they showed more of like the campaign in this particular reveal. So it's kind of like their own, I don't know, Call of Duty, first person shooter kind of adventure. I didn't see anything that was super unique about it. Lots of guns, lots of explosions.
Yeah. I would agree with your comparison of Call of Duty type, that type of game style and play. So might be interesting. Yeah, we'll see.
Yep. And then the last thing they did is they talked about not showing all their game studios and then having more news coming up. Yeah, at a later
which
time.
is good. I mean, they're slowly letting it drip out bit by bit as they get it. Keeping word of mouth top of mind, everything like that. So every so often, if they come out with this, especially with everything going on, another Xbox thing, some exclusives, some gameplay, some trailers, kind of keep it. What we really want to see is when they're gonna, do the release date, the cost,
Yes.
all that details on the actual system. We really want to see for both Xbox and PlayStation, and really the day's getting closer and closer. I don't know how long or how far they can hold out for. So
yeah, it's gonna be very interesting to see when that's gonna come out, and I have a feeling it's gonna be next month in August. As like one final hurrah. They did drop one more thing, and a very Nintendo thing to do, with Fable, and there was lots of rumors about Fable being worked on after they canceled the last Fable because it wasn't traditional Fable. It was a 4 versus 1, multiplayer kind of game. It didn't do well, I guess, in the alpha or whatever early access they had, so they scrapped that, and I guess they went to work on a proper Fable game. And visually, it looks beautiful. I mean, all we saw was a CG opening. Didn't really tell us much at all about it.
Yeah, there's a fairy going around and then eventually gets eaten by a frog.
Yeah,
so
and Albion is very.
It just kind of showed the atmosphere, that kind of beauty of the game.
Yeah, there's magic. There's a big kingdom. It's probably still Albion. I don't know if they're changing the locale or starting from scratch, but more of the same. And then if it's true Fable, you're gonna have a good and bad or light and dark system in place. Depending on how you act is going to change your physical appearance and obviously the way you interact with people and change the powers that you use and all that kind of stuff. So it's interesting. I kind of want to see, is it just going to be more of the same? Is it going to be Fable 4? Is Fable going to be a reimagining, let's redo the first 3 games as one giant new game? It'll be interesting to see which way they go with it, but I'm sure that the core systems that were put in place in the originals will be back and hopefully will be tweaked upon to give you a more smoother experience. But
because in the title it just said Fable. It didn't say a number, it didn't say title, anything, just Fable. So left it very much in the air for people to speculate and imagine, but I'm sure we'll get more information on that down the line as well.
Absolutely. I mean, this could be Fable Origins, it could be a prequel and going really early, or it could be much later in the future. Who knows? They can do whatever they want, just like Star Wars could do whatever they want at this point. So it'll be interesting to see where they settle upon. But maybe more Fable. This is a great thing. It's a great IP that Xbox has, so they need to hold on to their IPs, the very few that they have, and obviously grow more. So great.
And people have been wanting it too, right? They want that next chapter, whatever it may be.
So overall, like we said, it was decent showing. Where do you think? I mean, we just kind of touched upon it. Showing the price and stuff. I mean, are you in agreement with me? Do you think August is the time? Do you think they're going to wait till September? Do you have any? Do you think they'll just drop a tweet?
I think September's going to be way too long, and I don't think it's just going to be one of these like tweets that Phil Spencer drops randomly on a Wednesday or whatever it was. I think this is going to be like a go into depth with it. This is the release date. These are the specs again. This is how it will look. This is what games will come out with it, or whatever it may be. So I think it's going to be, when they do another thing, it might be, one more thing.
Yeah.
Throw it in there or something like that with some exclusives and stuff like that, world premieres.
Yeah, I completely agree. And the fact that they haven't announced the Lockhart or, smaller version of the Series X, the digital edition or whatever it's going to be called, still to this point, I would agree that there has to be some sort of event to unveil it, to go through the system OS, the features, and then end on the price, right? Like, kind of just on all out Xbox.
Price. Yeah.
Maybe show up another game or another surprise announcement just to get people excited again, a release date exclusive or whatever. Special offer, for Xbox Series X owners, for the first month, you get Game Pass for a year, something to try to get people to adopt it earlier. For those who don't, that's fine. Everything will still work. But like for those who are ready to invest, here's an actual for those who are on the fence, that might swing them over.
I would pre-order whatever it may be, right? Like start getting the sales to generate, because once they start doing pre-orders, as we heard for when they did that PlayStation controller review. There's a rumor that PlayStation was available for pre-sale, so there's lineups at different retailers, even though it was just a rumor and not true. So obviously there's some excitement for people to get out there and pre-order as quick as possible. So once they get this out, they'll start seeing their sales and what they can expect in revenue that way as well.
Absolutely, and I think that both companies are vying for your attention. They both have strong cases at this point as to which way you go.
Very hard.
None of them have showcased. Not the graphical user. The GUI is not going to make or break someone buying the system. How long are you sitting on that system? As long as you can get to your games, play your games, that's what matters, right? But none of them have teardowns on what the system can do, any new features, any of that stuff. So we expect that they'll both have something kind of coming out about that. Maybe showcase what those new buttons are. The create button on the Sony, for example, it used to be shared, now it's create, what that tool set may evolve in. And then of course on the Xbox side, they had a new button on the middle, which I'm assuming is to stream or capture, whatever it is. So it'll be great to kind of see what these new features do.
What platforms are they doing their own platform, or are they allowing you to do whatever you want to use, third party, what you're used to, what you're already streaming on or whatnot. So it'll be very interesting for that as well.
Absolutely. And then earlier in the week, we did have Nintendo who kind of came out and had a small mini partner direct, which was just basically showcasing 4 games, oddly enough. At least on the American version of the mini direct. On the Japanese, they had like an additional 2 or 3. And of those games, the Japanese one had way more interesting games, in my opinion, both visually and just genre based, that I thought would have been way better to showcase on in the American one. But basically, we had WWE's
like in the street kind of thing.
They showcased DLC for Cadence of Hyrule, which is great. More songs, more characters, kind of get that game going. Try to get Zelda, keep it in the mind of players, I guess. Another game that's like Nintendo exclusive. And then they showcased that I guess it's like their own shooter game. I can't remember what it was called now. But again, there was nothing that was
they had like a zombie type, like a fighting zombie kind of game as well announced. Nothing that we were kind of excited to see what they might be showcasing at this point. And Nintendo's been surprisingly quiet recently, and we've just been waiting for them to announce not these mini directs, but like a full, at least a decent direct where they can announce some more things, maybe some 40th anniversary Mario stuff or something, an update on Zelda, like anything at this point.
Absolutely. And
we just need something.
And we're thinking that the reason that it hasn't come up yet is strictly because COVID is impacting, when they believe they can release the date by, and why announce a brand new game and say, oh, there's no date because we don't know. Why get people hyped up and then not be able to at least kind of give them some glimmer of hope when they're going to get their hands on it. So maybe that's why they're kind of waiting. Maybe the big direct will be in September, as it used to have one big one in E3 and one big one in September, like fall, kind of getting ready for the holidays. So maybe they're just going to have one big one. And then at that point, by September, they should at least know what's coming out in October, November.
Yeah,
In
because they gotta
stone,
get
we would
ready for
assume.
the holidays as well, right? Like
Yeah.
they want everything else so people can kind of weigh what they want the most and then choose what they can get for the holidays or what their children may want or what their budget can afford, so on and so forth. So
Yeah. Yeah. So it was interesting. I'm looking forward to see what Nintendo has in store. I'm sure that there's some more surprises that we're not
definitely.
hearing yet. But Xbox, great job. At this point, let our viewers know. Like, are you leaning more towards Xbox or PlayStation after that last presentation?
Still Xbox, still leaning towards that. I love the Game Pass. I love that you can carry your game forward into the future and not have to pay for the next version to go from the latest Xbox to the newest one. So that's very exciting. I love the catalog that they're going to have all the way from release date. Over 1,000 games from Xbox original to now. So it's very exciting.
Yeah. So I mean, if Last of Us 2 and Ghost wasn't released already, and I wasn't like saving it to me to play on the next gen console, if those games didn't exist, I probably would be more on the Xbox bandwagon, because even though I love the exclusives that were announced and are coming, none of them are like immediate, with the exception of Spider-Man Miles Morales, which I could wait on that. I don't need to play that day one. I can get some more Spider-Man, mid next year, probably get it on sale and still have a great time. So I would probably have leaned more towards Xbox, because there's already 3 or 4 games on Game Pass that are out right now, plus more that they promised that I definitely want to jump into, plus Halo Infinite, the promise of Fable. Xbox just has such a great mission statement right now that, I think that they would have won me over. But the exclusives like Ghost and like Last of Us, I want to play so badly, and the fact that I am holding off to the next gen is going to make me want to get that system first and foremost, get those games, play them on 4K and better graphics and much smoother frame rates and whatnot, and then know that I can still play the majority of these games, including Halo, on my Xbox One, so I'm not missing out. And then I don't have to worry about, I'm not going to get the best graphical fidelity. Once I upgrade to Series X, my save file, everything moves over, and I continue where I left off, and I get the better graphics for no additional cost. So I don't feel like there's a rush for me to get it day one, but it's definitely something I will be getting at some point. So I think I'm still more PlayStation. I think it's going to come down to the price point that's really going to sway me either left or right at this point. If Xbox comes in like $100-$150 less, then I might just have to say, screw you, PlayStation. I'm going to wait till you have a sale. I'm not going to spend that much money on your system. Again, depending on the pricing. If Xbox is out for something ridiculous like $200 and PlayStation is $350, I'm like, I'll get PlayStation. That's a cheap price. But the rumors being that they're going to be upwards around $600-$700, then $100-$150 is a huge amount for me to decide to go with the cheaper option at this point. So,
and I'm in a little bit different. I don't have the the Series X or anything like that. So my last Xbox is a 360. So kind of jumping to that next one would be a huge jump for me, and be worthwhile, since I didn't invest in the last console.
And I think there's also a benefit if this does work out, where you get the Xbox Series X and I get the PS5, then we can basically play each other's games and experience both without having to invest right away in it. So that's pretty good as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. But I think overall, great event. Excited to see what's next. I think our predictions are August will be a big month for another Xbox and PlayStation event. Ubisoft hinted that they might have another one coming.
That's right.
Soon or in the future. They didn't say a date, but I would expect again something before the end of this year. So maybe they're waiting on launch day announcements when the next Xbox and PlayStation release date officially gets announced. So maybe it'll come up in September, maybe their next big thing, and then hopefully Nintendo will be around that time. So I'm hoping that we get another big wave of announcements. We do know that Gamescom, which was canceled, there was a digital event that they kind of shifted to, and we know that Jeff Keighley is still doing his one night live or opening night live. So there will be some exclusive announcements at Gamescom, which is in August. So could they release the price and stuff at that point? It is possible. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But PlayStation pretty much confirmed at the beginning of the year that they weren't attending E3 or any major conferences. They were kind of doing smaller stuff and doing their own thing. So we'll have to wait and see if they decide to go this route or not.
Definitely. Yeah, it'll be very interesting the next few months to see what's announced. And this will be the time where everything's kind of finalized and we can get our ducks in line.
Absolutely. Well, there you have it, folks. That's our thoughts on the Xbox live stream. Their showcase, essentially. We'd like to know what you think. If you'd like to support us, hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to enjoy this video, give us a thumbs up. And always, please make sure to drop a comment below. Let us know, what game are you most excited about that Xbox launched or announced, if you are into the Xbox side of things. And if not, what are you most looking forward to on the PlayStation and or Xbox coming up? Do you agree with us? Do you feel that the big pricing and release date information will be coming out in August? Or do you think it'll be later in September? Let us know. Leave a comment below. Shoot us an email at nerdstalkinfo@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your thoughts on any future content you'd like us to do. Share with your friends, as we could definitely use the support that way as well. And as always, friends, stay nerdy.